Hi, I'm Jason Weaver, and no animals were harmed in the making of this review.
And I'm Eric Kostecki, and several people were harmed in the making of this review.
Today we're going to be learning about the history of Japan. Now, even though the real Edo period didn't actually have rappers, zombies, and Steve Bloom...
It didn't?
No.
Everything I know is a lie!
Even though the real Edo period didn't actually have those things... Samurai Champloo does!
Yay!
But do those things add up to a decent anime?
I don't know!
Here's our review.
Asshole! Samurai Champloo kicks off at the execution of two samurai named Mugen and Jin. Then we flash back a day to see how they screwed up bad enough to go from not even knowing each other to being sentenced to death together in just one day. The flashback also introduces our third main character, Fu, a 15-year-old girl who's working as a waitress because she's smart enough to know that her place is near the kitchen. One drop plate too many leads her to the wrong end of a sword. Mugen just so happens to be willing to exchange the lives of her assailants for free dumplings.
Do the math. 100 dumplings for all you guys? What's that work out to? 5 dumplings a pop?
His math's way off.
Meanwhile, Jin is busy going 19th century Keanu Reeves on 3 of the governor's elite bodyguards for blocking his path. After he's done emptying the blood out of them, he heads to the restaurant where Mugen and Fu are. Mugen, not content with the deaths he's already dealt, notices Jin, their eyes meet, and it's attempted murder at first sight. As styles and swords clash, one of Mugen's survivors sets fire to the restaurant, because having his arm sliced off made him want to burn things, I guess. Jin and Mugen pass out from smoke inhalation and awaken to find the governor is very fat and angry with them because his son burned to death in the fire.
The governor has them tortured and left in prison for the night, to await the execution the next day. Fu, now without a job, or home, or family, or friends for that matter, says she's come to a decision. She sneaks over to the cell Jin and Mugen are being held in, makes a deal with him. If she can free them before they die, they will become her bodyguards and help her find the mysterious samurai who smells of sunflowers. As we return to the execution we started at, Mugen and Jin are able to free themselves, but have trouble escaping. So Fu tosses some fireworks onto the site to create a distraction, allow Jin and Mugen to slip away, like Assassin's Creed, but with a samurai.
Because Mugen and Jin still want each other to stop breathing, Fu makes another deal with them. If she flips a coin and it comes up heads, Mugen and Jin can cut each other into as many pieces as their unclear motivations desire. But if it comes up tails, they join her in a rousing game of where in the world is Carmen Samurai who smells of sunflowers. Tails never fails, so the 3 of them set off on their vague journey for the ages. Much like the bebop that came before it, Samurai Champloo has hardly any plot episodes, and spends most of its time with episodic or arc-based stories, centered around one character out of the trio itself, or another character they meet.
These stories are either funny, serious, or seem like they were written by someone who is a few douchebags short of New Jersey. Some standout funny stories were Mugen spending the night in a brothel helping an undercover ninja expose a counterfeiting foundry within because she keeps promising to give him the nookie he wants.
I want my nookie!
Mugen, Jin, and Fu playing against Americans in baseball to the death! And a hilariously narcissistic swordsman trying to hunt down Jin based on the fact that he has glasses after he pawned them for food money.
As for the stories that seem like they were thought up on LSD, pitched on weed, and written on cocaine, there is an episode where the trio stumbles on a group of zombies who maintain their immortality by eating mushrooms, and afterwards, they never speak of it again. To go along with that steaming pile of sanity, Mugen, Jin, and Fu are stopped at a checkpoint because they unwittingly bought fake passes. So Mugen has to make a delivery through a bandit-rich forest, gets caught, and ends up getting high with them instead of saving his friends. But when the story wants to get serious and start moving the plot, it gets really damn serious. Over their travels, Fu reveals that the samurai who smells of sunflowers is her father, Seiso Kasumi.
Seiso abandoned Fu and her mother, and Fu wants to take revenge on him, because without his support, they led a very hard life, and her mother got sick and died, and none of this is funny, so here's Mugen getting hit in the balls.
Look, there's a naked woman over there!
Huh?
Fu learns that her father led a Christian rebellion against the shogunate, so he was sentenced to death for heresy. He left Fu and her mother because he didn't want them to get killed because of him. When she learns her father's location, Fu ditches Mugen and Jean because apparently it's okay when she does it.
Mugen and Jean follow her while they are both pursued by assassins. They fight for their lives while Fu finally approaches her father's home and enters it to find her father lying in bed, terminally ill, nearly blind, and unable to move. Then she starts lamenting how she can't bring herself to take her long-awaited vengeance for her mother because of the state he's in.
I had it all planned, but this isn't fair. I can't do anything to you now. Not if you're like this.
Almost immediately afterwards, the shogunate assassin that presumably killed Jean appears and kills Seiso right in front of Fu. Fortunately, Jean was not killed by the assassin, and returns to kill him, just as Mugen finishes off his own would-be killers.
As the two stand in a state of almost dead, they ready themselves to continue their fight from the first episode and promptly break each other's swords and collapse. They awaken, recover, and prepare to part ways with Fu. But before they do, Fu delivers the biggest twist of the series.
You remember, back when we started this trip, we made a little bet. We'll decide this by tossing this coin. If it's heads, you fight each other. But if it comes up tails, you forget about the fight and you both come with me. Are we clear on this? Tails! The thing is, it actually came up heads.
Say what?
You're kidding.
They say their goodbyes and take their separate paths. And... What? It's the end of the series.
Yeah?
Well, why aren't you shouting about it?
Well, see, because this ending actually felt complete, and... Wait, what makes you think I would make such a big deal over the ending of some trivial work of fiction?
All of our previous reviews.
Hey, speaking of those, remember that shotgun I have?
Characters! Mugen is easily the standout character of the trio, bringing an anachronistic delight to every bit of screen time he gets in Samurai Champloo via his temper, his afro, and his breakdancing, none of which should exist in the Edo period, but Mugen makes you glad it does. While Mugen's thought process gives the impression that the light's home but nobody's on, he knows enough to badass his way out of any situation.
I'll take all you bitches on!
Jean brings a calm, composed, and always delightfully deadpan personality to serve as a perfect contrast to Mugen. A prodigy at proper swordplay, Jean manages to cut through his enemies while maintaining perfect manners. Even when his backstory is introduced, he isn't as interesting as Mugen, but still a good character overall.
May the saints forgive you, because I won't.
Fu comes off as a realistic teenage girl. She's confident, she means well, and she's resourceful enough to not rely on her bodyguards completely, and even manages to free herself from some of her many kidnappings throughout the series. On the other hand, her tendency to complain might start to grate on your balls. In fact, Mugen and Jean ditch her because of it. Twice. Lastly, she can also be brash and selfish, but show me a teenager who isn't.
It sure is tough being a girl, isn't it?
Samurai Champloo is more often than not average in execution. It doesn't really do anything wrong, and there are times when it finds its footing and becomes really good, but its moments of glory fade when so much space is put in between them. Samurai Champloo's arcs suffer from the inevitability that the more stories you write, the more likely it is that you're going to write a bad one, or at least one that isn't as good as previous ones. Let it not be said that Samurai Champloo is bad, but its lack of depth really hinders its staying power.
Samurai Champloo. Yeah, it's one of those animes that I can't really hate, but then again, I can't really like it either. It's interesting to watch, but the whole plot is summed up in about 5 episodes. All the other episodes are filler. While it is really good filler, sometimes you can't avoid the fact that filler is filler. You can watch it once and love the series, but there is no second time that you'll watch it and love it, unless you suffered from recent memory loss.
Damn, are we done early?
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, you want to drop a fresh rap number to kill time? No! Good.
Freestyle, feeling the flavor, it's the short shot. Bust up the air when the spot gets hot. So playing dudes and knocking them out the box. That's how it is, homie, like it or not. Freestyle, feeling the flavor, it's the short shot. Bust up the air when the spot gets hot. So playing dudes and knocking them out the box. That's how it is, homie,